wish I hadn't made that decision. Hey, I am Chuck the bureaucrat, and over the last year, I've had a number of conversations with those of you who are trying to make tough life decisions. Some folks are trying to decide whether or not to join the military, or they're trying to figure out what MOS to pick. Others are facing that mid-career decision of, should I stay more operational or should I become more specialized? And of course, plenty of you are trying to figure out when is the right time to retire. And in all those conversations, something is starting to become obvious to me. And the way I'd put it is like this. I had a family member who was trying to pick an MOS, and after what seemed like hours of dithering on the phone, I finally said, "Look, I love you, I trust you, and I know that no matter what decision you make, you're going to regret it." You see, it is impossible to make a major life decision without sacrificing something. Even if you don't know what it is at the time you make the decision, the day is going to come when you look back and you feel a pang of loss. And I would argue that this is built into the forces that drive our lives forward. Those constant tug-of-wars between what we want to be and what society expects of us, along with the demands of family and career. You're just not going to satisfy everybody, and the unfortunate truth is you're not even likely to permanently satisfy yourself. And what so many people that I talk to say is that they want to pick a course of action that'll make them happy, that'll somehow guarantee that they'll never experience regret. And I'm sorry, but that just ain't going to happen. Instead, I've started to encourage people to consider the different types of regret that they may feel about a decision and take them into consideration as they make their choices. And believe it or not, this seems really important who have a lot of experience with military planning or making business decisions. You see, as complicated as military or business decisions may be, there's a pretty firm belief that there is such a thing as a best option. And in those situations, there usually are a set of options that reliably lead to something that we would all call success. That is not so with personal life decisions. In a lot of cases, good enough is about the best we can do. And in fact, good enough really is good enough. But hopefully, you can see how that good enough mindset would clash with the successful military mindset. So what do? Well, number one, I would caution you about that tired old chestnut that nobody on their deathbed wished that they had worked more. That saying may be a good reminder not to forfeit your family as you pursue your career, but at the same time, there are a lot of people who lament that they did not achieve as much in their career as they could have. You probably aren't going to be able to minimize that regret about your achievements, but at the same time, you should be able to minimize it by setting the right balance between your efforts. Secondly, that issue of finding the right balance is probably a bigger job than one person can handle alone. As I've gotten older, I've found that input from my spouse and my kids, it provides a lot of help in finding where that balance lies. In fact, I frequently ask people who are facing some sort of major decision what their spouse thinks about it, and you would be surprised at the number of people who respond by saying, I don't know. Well, it helps to know. I mean, does your spouse support the late nights? Do they support moving halfway around the world every couple of years? Do they support those late night phone calls? Because you can endure a considerable amount of hardship if you have support. And not for nothing, but without support, that's what I think leads to those deathbed regrets about having worked too much. And then, once you finally become comfortable with the idea that life probably is not going to be perfect, but that doesn't mean that it can't be wonderful. Well, once you come to grips with that, start paying attention to the people around you. You know that there is a tendency for those up-and-coming young officers to put on a good face, to hide their pain and confusion and uncertainty. You don't have to pull their mask off, but you can certainly help them come to grips with the realities of life. You can tell them about the decisions that you've faced, you can talk about the realities of adult life, and you can nod understandingly even when they don't say anything at all. And now, if you want to see a particular regret that plagues military headquarters, watch this video to see what happens as a person approaches the very end of their career.